Wow. So each of these, when you're adding a texture of wanting to live with someone, as soon as you want to live with someone or be close to someone, share your habits with someone, you're going moon to moon. Your moon is your moon consciousness is going into that other person's moon consciousness, and from there you're trying to make some other type of security. So, I mean, you got to be ready if someone's got the moon Saturn, you're going in, because they're not going to be. Their instinct is not to cheer you up; it's to be threatened by things. You know, so. A moon Mercury might be too frivolous and always talking. Moon Saturn is a little, someone could have both. These can add up. And we really have them all added up. Anyways, we can experience all these things even without the aspects. We get moments when we experience all these challenges. But Saturn inhibits. It means difficult link to mom. It means perhaps poor nutrition, or you have to be defensive about how you're living. It may mean depressed habits, and you have to work on having habits that keep you happy or positive. But there's a tendency to reflect on the serious things or to worry with the moon Saturn, to be inhibited. Inhibition can cause a lot of ambitions. So someone may be ambitious and just work like crazy, but they're rarely at home. Someone with the moon Saturn may not be quick to want to have kids. Someone may not want to have kids, but they may have 3 of them, or 4 of them, or 5. You know, so Saturn causes restrictions and limitations that really is discipline. It forces discipline on your instincts and feelings. It's not necessarily a bad quality, but it takes a long time and a lot of effort to refine it out of depression. It can mean poor nutrition. It can be not eating expansive enough, eating too restrictive, just the way, eating the same things all the time. But usually you can, if someone says an indulgent moon Saturn is like a moon in Capricorn. It's inhibited, it's controlled. Could be bossy, but it's not going to show the affections that easily. But you'd expect some restriction with the father and the mother at the time when you were growing up. You expect that same pressure to be there when you're growing up. We have to have the house, we have to take care of this, we have that instinct to be serious. I knew one person who had that and grew up through the Depression, and where they had no food and they had to do without things, and they grew up the rest of their life. They could never throw out food. They always had things stored in the containers. They may never go and eat the stuff in the containers, but they would store it in the containers because they could never throw it out. They had a miserly or restrictive, miserly is really to Venus, but around food and nutrition, it might imply poor circulation, a tendency to feel cold, Saturn. So all of the factors of Saturn come in and are affecting all the factors of the moon. And those 2 levels of consciousness are affecting each other, so they have a direct link to each other. So it makes a person prone to be a little more serious on each of these levels, and then that spins off to everything else. But you could work with someone and never know their moon. You'll know the moon when you start living with someone or eating with them. I knew someone had that, and they just it's a funny thing, they never wanted to go to the bathroom, anybody's place. They would always want to run home and just hold it until they got home. Only place they felt secure. So it can come up, but that inhibition, that shyness, that reserve will be around somebody's feelings. They won't unwind very easily. But they'll listen, they'll hear things, but they're taking it in defensively. Boy, so you're going to have to work to make them cheer up. To make them laugh, it's more ha, ha, ha than a good laugh. They're going to control their feelings. And that control can be so there might be a lack of nutrition. There might be a lack of security. There may have been overly strict upbringing or poverty upbringing. So these things, you start to see the Saturn influence comes in on the moon. Then when we look at, okay, so up to Saturn, that's responsibility, duty. These are all normal aspects. They're things within the main planets that you can see. Everybody's got them in one. We all have places that we get depressed. We all have places we have a moon Saturn. Everyone's got them, but they become more extended complexes when you have them in your chart, and it's a pattern that you're regularly working through. and they'll get triggered off by other transits and progressions. So they come up times you have to really work on them for a few years. Okay, so once you get to Saturn, you've got all the main Moon to Saturn, the 7 main planets, 7 days of the week, basic 7. The 3 other planets are extremes, and they represent things that try and break down the structure and let you get past the defenses of Saturn. But they have a gift, but they have a curse, and more often than not, they're destabilizing factors. Certainly, they're destabilizing factors to the Moon. And these represent major complexes that people have. So if you have a stressful aspect of the Moon to Uranus, Moon is your security, Uranus is your excitement, your breaking of tradition, your need for excitement and trying to break free of things. That can cause an awful lot of, it's opposite energies. It causes in that excitement, there's an anxiety that I can't be stable, I gotta be moved, nothing's stable, it's changing on me. And you have a high worry anxiety level with the Moon to Uranus, a nervous restlessness. And there's an instability coming from Uranus to hit the Moon that the person's lifestyle and their link to their mom and to their home and to their memories is unstable. Restless, get out of here, let's leave it, it's gone, let it go. But to live with someone who doesn't, if you're a Moon Saturn and trying to get secure and you're with someone who doesn't want to be secure, wants to break away from it, one person's going to stay home and try and take care of things, take care of the kids, and the other person's never going to want to be home. So Uranus causes an anxiety, disruption, instability to the feelings, to the feeling chakra, to the moods, to memories, to mom. It could be mom, it may not be mom. It could be the way you're eating. It could be a nervousness. It could be not being able to sleep, restless sleeper. It could be your parents moved 20 times bringing you up. You know, it could be like there's a high, something's shocking or unstable to the Moon. So it certainly diminishes one's sense of security or stability. So you're rarely going to feel secure with your feelings. You may get excited with your feelings, but then it'll be difficult to feel secure about that excitement. And you get the excitement, then it comes and then it goes, and then you're in shock and worried about it coming again because you got hurt because it went away. Because the Moon tries to collect things. Uranus to the Moon might make you not want to have a kid, or I don't want to live here. I don't want to. Why buy an apartment? Why buy a place? Let's just rent or move. Like, or if you caught in a fixed situation, you're always worrying about it. Sometimes you'll overcompensate. There's the anxiety from Uranus to the Moon, and you're trying to overcompensate. I'm so insecure. I got to make sure I'm secure. So someone could have this aspect and be the most secure person you know, but they're totally neurotic about it, and no one would know that unless you live with them. So if a mother has a kid and has that, there's going to be some unconventional thing that causes a high degree of worry and anxiety, and anyone in the family is going to know it. Okay, so that's the Uranus. If it's an easy aspect, excitement comes and goes. It doesn't hit the nerve like this. As soon as it comes to stress, the conjunction square opposition, this anxiety comes in, this need to break away, to not feel caught in the past, to break away from things. That comes up from the Uranus. So as the outer planets hit the more inner planets, they have very powerful effects. And they represent significant complexes that you see and you're trying to work through. How you solve them is, even though you have that aspect, you have to solve the planet and the sign it's in. Each planet is in its own sign, and that sign's squaring each other. So if you have the Moon in Cancer and you have Uranus in Libra, boy, they're funny, but still, you have to get your excitement through relationships and through being innovative in how you share in the Libra qualities, and you have to feel secure in your Cancer. So you still have to make each thing stable. Each thing, the excitement comes from relationships, but the feeling of needing security, you're still going to try and feel secure, so you're going to try and overcompensate, and these two factors will maintain this. You'll figure it out, and there'll be some kind of live wire in your life that's just there. You can't predict what it is. You can perceive the nerve, and you can look to see how the nerve is manifesting. And you can always ask a question or two, and someone won't take long to ask a question about how you get along with your mom, or how stable have you lived in a lot of places, or it wouldn't take long to see how that's showing. The person will show you better than you could define it. Okay. So if someone had easy aspects, they'd be a little more spontaneous. They wouldn't have the anxiety or the complex around that security, the nervousness, the instability around security and sympathy. Okay.